Today we will be talking about F.W. Taylor's Principles of Scientific Management. Now F.W. Taylor was an American mechanical engineer and he is also known as the father of scientific management. Now he published his ideas about scientific management in 1911. Now, he was the first expert to suggest the use of scientific methods of measurement and study for solving managerial problems. The scientific management theory focuses mainly on improving the efficiency of each individual in the organization. And this is done by the application of science to management, which means application of scientific methods, scientific standards, then scientific tools in order to reduce the costs and to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of the organization. Now F.W. Taylor conducted various experiments and came up with these principles of scientific management. If you look at the first principle that he gave, he has written, science not rule of thumb. What do you mean by rule of thumb? It means application of haphazard ways of tackling a problem, or you can say traditional methods, which are based on past experience. Now he said that these haphazard ways, these traditional methods should not be applied in an organization, because these methods are untested and unscientific. So a careful scientific analysis of the work that is to be done must be carried out in order to do a work. And he said that this will improve the organizational efficiency. According to Taylor, he said that even a small activity can be scientifically planned, which will improve or which will save time as well as human efforts. And he also suggested that we should keep the cause and effect relationship in mind while taking any decision. So he advocated that there should be standardized results. There should be a guarantee of a specific result. Then it should be such that it is able to achieve the objectives, and we should also try to use the available resources to the fullest. The materials, equipment and working conditions should also be standardized. The amount of work to be done should be decided through objective study. And we have time study, motion study. These are different types of studies which are conducted in order to get a work done or to do a work. The second point that he said was harmony, not discord. He emphasized that there should be complete harmony between the workers and the management. If there is any conflict between the two, it will not be good for the organization. In order to achieve these principles, Taylor suggested that there should be a complete change of attitude on the part of both management as well as the workers. The workers should have a mentality of helping the management, and the management should always be ready to share the profits with the workers. Then only the employees or the workers will give their full cooperation. The main focus of this is that both management and workers should work together with a positive attitude towards each other and with mutual cooperation. And by the use of these methods, many benefits are derived. For example, there will be a change of attitude of management and workers towards each other. Instead of conflict, there should be mutual cooperation. It will lead to development of team spirit. It will lead to the accomplishment of the group goals. and there will be mutual cooperation and coordination across the entire organization. And the workers on their part should work with discipline and loyalty. The next is maximum not restrictive or restricted output. Conflict between management and workers arises mainly on division of surplus. Taylor suggested that the best way to resolve the conflict is to increase the size of surplus so that each side can have a larger share. That means to increase production so that more and more profits accrue to the organization, and when there are more profits, then you have more to give to the workers. Management and workers should have a common interest in increasing productivity. So, maximum output and optimum utilization of resources will bring in higher profits both for the employer as well as for the employees. And the benefits of using this principle is that it will lead to improved productivity. There will be optimum utilization of the resources. It will lead to higher profits. Then you can give more incentives to the workers so that they work with more zeal, more enthusiasm, and it will lead to growth and development of the organization. Next is division of work and responsibility. F.W. Taylor suggested that planning should be separated from operational work. Management should concentrate on planning the job of the workers, and workers should concentrate only on the performance of the job. So, there should be correct division of work as to who has to do what work, and there should be responsibility also. That means a person should be responsible for the work that he is supposed to do. So, division of work will also lead to higher productivity. It will lead to more specialization. And when you make somebody accountable, somebody responsible, then he will work with more dedication to get the work done. Next is scientific selection, training and development of workers. Workers should be selected scientifically. There should not be any haphazard way of selecting workers. The procedure for selection of workers should be designed scientifically. If the organization is not having the right workers in the right job, the efficiency of the organization will reduce. And the selected workers should be properly trained so as to avoid wrong methods of doing the work and wastages. Management should provide opportunities for development of also workers so that if they are having better capability, they can do another work or a better work. Each and every worker should be encouraged to develop his full potential. By applying this particular method, what are the benefits? It leads to saving of time, because as I told you, when there is scientific selection, training and development of workers, then less time is taken by the workers to do the work. Then improvement in employee retention rate. That means the employee continue to be there in the organization for a long period of time. They don't leave the job. If they are not satisfied, they will leave the job very quickly. Then there will be elimination of personal bias. There should not be any personal bias or prejudice against a worker. Worker should be given work according to their capabilities. Then it will lead to evaluation of the skills of the workers. Next is mental revolution. What do you mean by mental revolution? Mental revolution means that the mentality of the workers and the management should have a complete change. There should be a complete change in their outlook toward their mutual relation and work efforts. So, management should create suitable working conditions, suitable working environment for the workers, and workers should attend to their jobs with utmost attention and dedication. By applying this method, what are the benefits? If this method is applied, then there will be cooperation between the workers and the management, which is good for the organization. It will lead to development of sense of belongingness among the workers, so they will try to put in their best for the organization, and it will lead to faster growth of the organization as well as timely completion of the work that is to be done. Now, what are the advantages of scientific management? If you look from the point of view of the employer, the first advantage is it will lead to higher productivity. When there is scientific selection, when there is division of work, more and more work can be done in less time. Less wastages will be there, optimum utilization of resources will be there, so it will lead to higher productivity. Then lower cost of production. When we have optimum utilization of resources and when we use standardized methods and tools for doing production, the cost of production will become less. Then better utilization of the resources. We have talked about that earlier also, that when there is division of work, when there is responsibility, when there is scientific training and development of workers, it will lead to better utilization of the resources. And if you follow all the principles of scientific management, it will lead to better quality of the work. The quality of work will become better and better. Now, from the point of view of the employee, as we talked just now about mental revolution, in mental revolution, the management should create suitable working conditions for the workers. So it will lead to better working conditions and environment for the employees, by which they will work in a better way. They will be motivated to do better work. Then higher earnings. When there is maximum but not restricted output, when profits are higher, then the employees also get a higher share of the profits. Better skills. Through scientific selection, training and development of workers, the employees acquire better skills. Then they get your better wages also. Then from the point of view of the society, first point is higher standard of living. See, when there is maximum output, when we have your lower cost of production, so the cost, when it becomes less, naturally the selling price will also be becoming less, and therefore it will lead to higher standard of living. The products will be better, the quality of the products will be better, so it will lead to higher standard of living of the people. Then better employee-employer relations. When there is a mental revolution from the part of the employer as well as the employees, when there is harmony, not discord, then it will lead to better employee and employer relations. Both will think in terms of the other, and there will be mutual cooperation among the employer and the employees. Improvement in work methods. Whenever there is a scientific approach to do a work, like for example, division of work will be done, then it will lead to improvement in work methods. The methods of doing the work can be improved by time study, by motion study, so that the time taken to do the work also becomes less, and the physical effort that is required to do a work, that also becomes less. In this way, it leads to improvement in work methods. So these are the advantages of scientific management of F.W. Taylor, Frederick Winslow Taylor. And in the next part we will see the Fayol's principles of management, which are also known as the general principles of management.